Your car guy here. Today I wanted to talk about how to properly check your oil. And this is important for several reasons. Running low on oil, you can ruin your engine and cost yourself an awful lot of money. And if you put too much oil in, you can conversely severely affect your fuel mileage and how the engine runs. You can cause it to overheat. And in some cases, you can cause a total failure as well by putting too much oil in. So it's important to check your oil regularly and just make sure that you know how to check it the right way and how often you should check it based on your vehicle. If you find that your vehicle uses oil, it needs to be checked more often. If you don't see it using oil, you can extend that period out a little bit. But either way, you should be checking your oil. Now, important thing to remember, if your vehicle hasn't been run yet that day, usually you can pull the oil dipstick and see the oil very easily where it's at. So your oil dipstick will normally have a yellow handle on it, especially on newer vehicles. Some may have red handles as well, but you'll want to pull it out, wipe it off, then re-dip it in to get an accurate measurement. So you don't want to just pull it out, look at it, and say that's good. So when you pull your oil dipstick out, you may see the oil level looks much higher than what it's supposed to be in the range. This is why you wipe it off, because with the vehicle turned off and sitting on level ground, you want to see what the oil level is. So looking at the bottom of your dipstick, this is after we've wiped it, you can see right there, we see the word add. Then we have some hash marks where it says safe. And then above that, it'll see check with vehicle level, do not overfill. Now you may see different wording depending on the manufacturer, but below those checker marks is the add zone. That means you usually need to add 1 quart of oil, and it'll be into the safe zone or the top of the safe zone. If it's in the safe zone, you don't need to touch it. You also don't want to be above the safe zone. What that'll do is allow the oil level to get high enough that it can hit the crankshaft, and as the crankshaft is hitting it, it'll rob you of power. It'll also introduce air into the oil, which can cause some severe issues as it aerates, and it'll generate a lot of heat. So your engine will run hotter, you're going to lose power, you're not going to do as well. You're actually safer to ride slightly low on oil than overfull, because even in the add zone, there's a margin of safety there before you're going to start to starve the oil pump of oil and cause a low oil pressure failure. After dipping the dipstick, we can see we're right there towards the middle top of the safe zone. So this is exactly where you'd want to be. You don't need to do anything. Now remember, we check the oil with the engine off. If the vehicle is cold, hadn't been started, and is parked in a level spot, you can pull the dipstick, wipe it, dip it, check your oil, great. If the engine's been running, say you just stopped at the gas station, you want to make sure that the engine's been warmed up fully to full operating temperature. And after you shut it off, wait just a few minutes before you check the oil, because the oil will have pumped up into the top of the engine, and you need a few minutes for it to run down. So if you immediately shut it off, pull the dipstick, it may show low and not actually be low because it hasn't had a chance for the oil to run back down to the oil pan where you're checking your oil level at. So you could end up adding oil and then be over full. Also, if you started it up and didn't get it to temp and say, oh shoot, I forgot to check my oil, and so you shut it right off, the oil's cold, it's a lot thicker, it'll take even longer for that oil to drain back into the oil pan, especially on a cold day. Summertime, not as long, the oil is going to flow back very quickly, but in the wintertime it can actually flow quite slowly. So that's why you want to have it up at operating temperature, and make sure that you've given it just a few minutes to roll back down to the bottom of the pan, and then check your oil. So an important little tip, this is your car guy. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe to our channel, help us grow. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.